Good morning, everyone. We'll begin with the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs. So, good morning, everyone. I believe today is day 12 of our Noble Friendship Pod. The title is Cultivating Affinities. I think in Chinese it'd be something like 培养缘分, maybe just 缘分. Just to give a quick overview of the journey so far, we began with me, befriending ourselves, to a we, say, kind of caring for another person from a place of fullness. And then we have a us, where we realize that we're not just an independent individual, but deeply interconnected in a web of relations. And then yesterday we reflected on beyond me, letting go of this kind of identity, this self, to discover our deeper kind of true home, our pure intentions. I would say in the kind of Buddhist practice would be vows. Kind of really what are our intentions. And then today, we're investigating affinities beyond we, going beyond the one-to-one relationship into kind of the infinite field of vows and kind of values. And honestly, just growing up in the world, I really rarely was exposed to this idea of affinities. Usually, our relationships come from a place of lacking. I remember growing up and looking for friends that maybe are a lot of fun to be around. It's like, okay, this guy's pretty cool, I hang out. Then we grow up, and sometimes we're in friendships because there's some kind of profit in it. For instance, we're in a business, and so this person gives me this, I help him with that. It's a kind of trade. And oftentimes our lives are just circling around those we find pleasure in being around, a lot of fun, and those we gain some utility from because they benefit us in some way. But how often do we really have friends that are based on affinities around kind of this deep virtue, you could say, shared intentions and values? And this is what I think the monastery actually is trying to support. Another design principle here in our 3-month retreat is to try to nurture affinities. And I remember coming in, some of the participants would ask, so really, what's your plan for us? What do you want us to do? And we go, Jing Wei says, well, actually, we don't need you to do anything. Because if you think about that kind of relationship, if we have an expectation for the men coming in, we're a little bit coming from a place of lacking. Right? Oh, somehow something's not enough and we need them to complete us, to make us feel full. So no, we don't want to play that game. And sometimes there's shared existence, right? Both people coming from a place of loving kindness. I care about you, you care about us. That's good. That's another level of how we can relate to one another from a place of care. But in the monastery, there's another level, which is that we're here, you could say, walking the spiritual path together. And this is when we have to deeply listen to one another's intentions. And oftentimes this requires looking beyond the surface, past the personality, past the habitual patterns, to reflecting on what's someone's true potential. What are their real values? And how would they go about realizing that? And how can I support that? I think then we begin to work in this field of affinities, where ourselves, we're coming from a purity of intention, and we're supporting that purity in other people. Fortunately, in the Buddha Dharma, in the monastery, we're, you could say, here in the field of the Buddha's affinities. When we put on this monastic robe, all of a sudden our, you could say, our role changes. We're no longer living just for ourselves. We become a member of the Buddha Sangha, which has certain values and intentions that serve as its foundation. And as we enter this field, it's a whole web of relations and affinities that manifest. Lay people come with offerings. In a monastery, there's other monks. There's lay people who come and train. And we become part of the Buddhist family, which isn't a family based on personality, based on fulfilling each other's expectations in a sticky way, but supporting everyone's pure intentions to wake up. That's what the Buddha set up the Sangha to do, to create a field of affinities for people to cultivate together to wake up. He wasn't trying to create some exclusive club, a kind of higher caste that they can, control other people. No interest. The Buddha had no interest in that. His interest was in creating a group of noble friends, a community of noble friends. And I think in that way, the kind of famous story when Venerable Nana goes to the Buddha and asks, Buddha, world honored one, surely half of the spiritual path is noble friendship. And the Venerable Nanda probably thought, yeah, pretty good insight, right? He realized, there's so much I learned from being with good friends in this noble field. And the Buddha's response is, no, Ananda, all of the spiritual path is noble friendship. In that next line, the Buddha doesn't just stop there. He says, because with noble friends, what do they help you? They help you walk the noble eightfold path. They help you find solitude, letting go, true well-being and happiness, realizing Nibbana. And if in our tradition we say, realizing Buddhahood. That's what true friends are about. And so here in this 3 months retreat, of course, I'm not very good at this. This is a kind of a experiment for myself. But there's a real hope to create a field where we're nurturing people's deeper affinities. Where we're not working so much from personality, so much from culture, but rather from the purity of our intentions. So when we started this retreat, we asked each person, what do you really want to do? Some people said, I really want to let go. Others said, I really want to accord with living beings. Others said, I want to open my heart. Others said, I want to accept myself. And so it's interesting when after hearing that and now reflecting on each of the people in this process, to be able to see how those intentions have unfolded over the months. And honestly, I'm really pretty amazed how people have grown. And for Jingwei and myself, most of it is just being able to just kind of keep the monastery container alive, explaining it, pieces of it every so often, and letting each person do their own work within a community of noble friends. And I think my sense is when the Buddha left this world and entered Nibbana, although in the Lotus Sutra it says it's still around, he says basically he left the Vinaya, the Dhamma Vinaya as the teacher. And I see that he left also the community of noble friends to serve as places of encouragement, support, and feedback. So that's what we're trying to create. And as I reflect on myself and my experience in DRBA, I can see my kind of own journey in this process. Maybe we'll say with my mom. Clearly when we grow up as kids, we have a dependent relationship with our parents, right? We think that somehow our parents are supposed to meet all our expectations, and when they don't, we're disappointed. That often happens. Then we might grow up a little bit and realize that, you know what, I really care about my mom and my dad. No strings attached. They're human beings, deserving of care, regardless of their personality, what they've done. I care about them. And then we move from this we to then us. We to beyond we, to affinities, to say with parents, especially for monastics, to say, what I really hope to do is support my parents realizing true happiness, true freedom and liberation. And interesting enough, for close relationships like parents and children, a certain amount of that can be bittersweet, because it involves also helping parents and myself and ourselves as children to transform the kind of deep, personal, affectionate relationships that sometimes can be grasping and possessive to something that's actually liberating. So these family ties become liberating affinities. Maybe just that much for this morning. I hope everyone can reflect today on maybe your affinities. First, I kind of reflect on what's your true values and what is the field of your relationships that help you embody those values, and how do you support those deeper values in other people. Okay, so just that much for this morning. Let's do 3 steps, 1 bow. Oh, really? Let me just quickly check our sound system. Zoom is okay? Is the sound still bad? Hello? Volume is at max, but barely hear it. So I think the volume is too low. So you have to go here to do it. Here it's okay. Hello? Oh, thank you for your feedback. We'll look into it. Okay. Does it sound okay? Has it sound okay now? Okay, we can probably stop the stream. We can do 3 steps, 1 bow. We turned up the volume slightly here.